My name is Darryl Kwal. Thanks for being with us once again. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has indicated that current developments in the economy warrants the introduction of Depositors Insurance Scheme. The governor said this when he gave the keynote address at the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank Breakfast Series in Crude today. Meanwhile, President of the Ghana Bankers Association, Hassan Andani, has assured that the cost of insurance for depositors' funds will be borne by the various commercial banks. This means the proposed insurance on depositors' funds at the banks will have no effect on the cost of doing business with banks. Mr. Andani was speaking with George Afe in an interview after today's breakfast meeting.
Actually going to be operating by, it's not going to be dependent on your internal cost. It's going to be dependent on market determined interest rates, your policy rate, your interbank rate and T-bill rate. That's actually where the base will come from. Then the devil is in the detail, which is a risk premium. So the risk premium might then look at various levels of recovery of some of the costs that we have.
You believe that this will encourage people to buy into this sort of depositors insurance, because there are some who are a little bit apprehensive?
Look here, it is the interesting thing is that it's not the ordinary depositor we're supposed to buy in, but it's the member institutions who are supposed to take the deposit insurance. You see what I'm saying? So it's not the multiplicity of depositors going to buy in. No, it is us, the financial institutions that take deposits, who are supposed to go and insure. So as for the depositor, it's just to create a risk awareness for the depositor to say, oh, okay, this must now tell me that the money that you leave with SDIs are not necessarily 100% protected. And again, it should lead to the kind of decisions you take, right? It leads to the kind of decisions you take, in the sense that if you have a deposit taking institution that is paying you very high interest on your deposit, then you must understand the risk you are taking with that institution, and the possibility of them losing your it's all in there.
The Cocoa Processing Company Limited has begun discussions with the Ministry of Trade and Industry to establish a cocoa manufacturing company to process raw cocoa beans for the local market. This is an initiative by the company to revive its relevance as the primary cocoa processing company in the country.
The decision by the Cocoa Processing Company to establish the subsidiary to be used as an entity to process raw cocoa beans for the farms into finished products for the Ghanaian market. This has become necessary due to restriction on CPC to produce for the local market following its status as a free zones company. Addressing shareholders at the Facts Behind the Figures series by the Ghana Stock Exchange, Managing Director of CPC Nana Ajinin Boate noted this will ensure that Ghanaians purchase chocolate products at a lower price.
We are producing, but because of the price, people are not buying. And that's why we've taken that step to look at a formation of a subsidiary on its own, so that it is different, registered, and that when you have that local sale, that one you conform to the local import tax, and that comes around to the 20%. So it means that even granted for purpose of discussion, it is 300 cedis round, and you are doing 59.22%. What it means that an additional 177 cedis has added on to the 477. If you get it at 20%, it rather turns up to 360. So the difference between the 360 and 477 is that whole gene of 117 on a carton. So invariably, it's like you are even 1 CD already on that you have saved, and that will reduce it. And so long as you reduce it, and you are talking about the benefits and the health benefits, everybody then will patronize and to open up to all class of people.
He disclosed that all the major shareholders, Cocoa Board, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, and the government has given its support to the initiative and will commence soon.
Immediately, we've written to Cocoa Board because for now, Cocoa Board is the 57%. We are yet to have that board. So with that level, they and SNIT is what we've talked to. So that by the time we formed the board, we would have had that first go, and then it rose from there, so that they only rectify at the main board.
And what has been the reaction of the ministry when you wrote this, your subsidiary?
They are all in support. In fact, the minister has made the PID officials to come, and they're even looking at how, in total of that whole thing, as to Cocoa Board looking at our restructuring and everything together. So there's something that they've reacted positively that we have to meet, all of us, Senate, Cocoa Board, government, as to how best, because the government is all for it for the processing because of the prices.
CPC has also raised a €3 million guarantee from Prudential Bank to be used as a working capital for its operations.
In other news, the Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, is asking government to reintroduce the petroleum hedging program to cover import and export of crude oil. According to the Institute, this insurance cover would not only save the country from losing billions in revenue, but cushion consumers against price hikes. The call by the Institute for Fiscal Studies follows a recent Reuters report indicating Ghana will likely hedge its oil imports under a new risk management strategy to curtail debts as global crude prices recover. Some local stakeholders have advocated hedging to protect government revenue and cushion price hikes. Hedging is basically an insurance cover that protects against price volatilities on the international market. Addressing the press at his office in Accra, Executive Director of the Institute, Professor Newman Kusi, welcomed the move.
Currently, Ghana produces nearly 200,000 barrels of crude oil per day, and Ghana's share has risen recently to nearly 20% of this total output, which the country sells on the international market. Ghana, however, is a net crude oil importer, except last year when oil exports exceeded its imports. Without an oil hedging program, the country stands to lose huge foreign exchange earnings from exports when oil price drops on the world market. In the same way, when oil price increases, the country suffers through increases in its oil import bill. Both scenarios are obviously undesirable and can be mitigated by an effective hedging program to ensure stability in the country's fiscal management.
Ghana in March 2010 implemented the commodity risk management policy to check volatility. However, the hedging program was abandoned in 2013. Although government says it would not rush to reintroduce it, the IFS says a holistic hedging policy would be more effective in mitigating the impact of volatile crude oil prices on the economy and consumers as well.
Ghana's previous experience with hedging points to one key lesson, and that is, with a well-designed hedging program, it is possible to protect the country against volatilities in commodity prices through the call and the put option. In fact, since 2015, the IFS has strongly advocated for the need for Ghana to reintroduce the petroleum hedging program to cover both imports and exports to save the country from losing millions of foreign exchange earnings and also provide stability to the national budget.
The IFS's call comes as oil marketing firms increase prices at the pumps despite the introduction of the stabilization levy by government. Ghana is a net importer of oil and averagely imports more oil than it exports. Meanwhile, Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies, Senyor Hosi, is calling for a review of petroleum taxes to help contain expected price hikes on the market. He was reacting to oil marketing companies' decision to increase prices by about 4% in the first pricing window for the month of February. Under the current situation where crude oil continues to rise, Senyor Hosi urges government to go ahead with hedging petroleum imports.
I mean, a number of things will definitely have to be done. One, a real opportunity to deal with prices in a more constructive manner seem to have been lost. We introduced a price stabilization and recovery levy in the Energy Sector Levies Act without a price stabilization plan. If you look at the ESLA report for 2016, it was rather spent on bust. And that's not what you do, because that's not a price stabilization plan. Because you have to look for a way to insulate the key factors that determine price, notably world market prices and the currency. We do not have hedging mechanisms for the currency that are deep enough to manage this market, but we do have options for the world market. So when prices were low, we had already made some recommendations to government then in 2016 why don't we take a hedge on the market and for the year coming to 2017, and then in 2017 too, we made the same recommendations, take a hedge on products. Government is not moving product, government is not selling. It's the private sector that does. In a deregulated market, you can't do much about that. But what you could do is to hedge products and have a paper play. When you hedge products, I mean, as far as the paper is concerned, you could have a strike price. Anytime prices reach that point where you think it's uncomfortable for the economy, needing government to reduce taxes, you rake in rather a hedge income.
So speaking about the price hikes, you have made mention of several ways by which you could reduce it, but in practicable terms, I mean, if you had to meet government today to extend or expand your very advice on how we could maintain the prices, of course, prevent it from showing up, what's going to be that?
There's one thing we should be clear. There's only so much that government can do about prices, mainly the taxes. So if it has failed to hedge, to take income not against the actual product supply, but actually against its tax income, the main thing it has to now look is to review its taxes.
Well, in another development, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, says it will, together with several other transport unions across the country and the general workforce, with the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, stage a peaceful street protest and demonstration tomorrow morning. The Chamber says this has become necessary as several attempts to draw the attention of authorities to the need to review the pricing formula or build up and on taxes, as well as petition on the same matter to the presidency in September 2017, have all fallen on deaf ears. We are joined by the Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Amwa. Thanks for your time tonight. Remind us once again why you think that government should apply a different formula for calculating the price of fuel.
Well, indeed. Let me say good evening to your cherished viewers. The current pricing formula clearly is leading all of us into a very big ditch. It is not surprising that you wake up Sunday, prices have gone up. You wake up Monday, prices have gone up. It is going up every now and then. What is quite instructive is that as we speak, a liter of petrol in Ghana is equal to $1. What it does mean is that by the time you are done buying 1 gallon of petrol, you are paying close to $5. That clearly is unacceptable in an economy whose incomes are nothing significant to write home about, especially when you consider the fact that the cost to tax percentage of the fuel itself is about 88%. Today, at an ex-refinery of 2.62, the tax element on fuel alone is over and above 2.16 pesos, 2.16 pesos per liter. That clearly is worrying, and one of the most, one of the most disturbing issues also has to do with the fact that there is a particular tax which we have made several noises about, the special petroleum tax, which keeps increasing anytime world market prices increase. The two are not helping, and so we would have said that there would be some government attempt or action to review some of these taxes to at least stabilize fuel prices. But the more we discuss these issues, the more fuel prices continue to escalate at the pump. And we think that we would need to adopt another approach by taking to the streets tomorrow to register our disgust at the situation on our hands currently.
What is the formula you're proposing?
We have said, if you listen to the last press conference that was held in the office of COPEC by the boss of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, he was quite clear that if the government could scrap the special petroleum tax alone, immediately petrol could come down to about 18 Ghana and some pesos. Unfortunately, that has not equally gone down well. Rather, fuel prices have had to go up just yesterday, much to the chagrin of most Ghanaian workers and the drivers in general.
Okay, so, well, we understand that you have petitioned the president since September 2017. What has been the level of engagement with the presidency, for which reason you'd want to stage a protest tomorrow?
Indeed, we seem not to have gotten any meaningful results The only result we have seen so far is that corn prices since September has gone up further and further by over 14% over the same September to January. Clearly, the only responses we are getting is one that says it hasn't gone up when it has gone up, one of self-denial, one of disinterest in seeing to the prices of fuel stabilizing at least for Ghanaians to be able to plan their spending on petrol accordingly. Unfortunately, we have not seen much action, neither have we been told anything at all that the government is doing to arrest the situation. And so tomorrow, yes, we'll hit the streets to further register our protest.
All right, Duncan Amwa there. He is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana. Speaking about the increase in fuel prices, well, there are some fears that the increase in the prices of petroleum products could have some serious implications on the economy. This Business Desk report captures some of those concerns.
The immediate impact of this hike would be on transport fares, as some drivers have already been pushing for increases even before the fuel adjustment that have taken place over the past 2 days. Looking at the structure of the economy, any jump in transport fares would result in an increase in prices of goods and other services. This could also result in the cost of production of businesses going up, and they will then pass on that cost to consumers, which may lead to further increases in the prices of goods sold on the market. For most individuals, this may result in significant increase in cost of living. Let's also not forget the impact of this development on the rate of inflation in the country and the cost of credit.
In other news tonight, some fashion designers are worried the entry of fake fabrics into their space could hamper the progress of their business. Speaking to Joy Business at a media launch of Kadi and Ajoyewa clothing partnership, spokesperson for the business, Aurelia Atipo, said this development, if not checked, could eventually knock out the potential of local fashion designs from competing on the international market. Here's more in this report.
Original local fabrics have over the past years faced stiff competition from the influx of sometimes pirated prints. Statistics indicate there is about 2 billion cedis worth of fake fabrics in circulation in the country. Spokesperson of Ajoyewa Clothing, Aurelia Atipo, touched on local content.
It does affect the business because as a designer, you would want to go for authentic fabric. You don't want to go for anything that is inferior to what your customer is looking out for. So if the government and all the bodies that are responsible could look into that so that it doesn't cripple the industry, because that could go a long way to cripple the industry. If you're supposed to use authentic fabric and we end up using inferior ones, a lot of the international people that we want to target or that we want to brand will end up not coming to us. So that could cripple the industry, and we want all the bodies that are responsible for that to look into that so that the industry can grow.
On his part, Director of Global Business at Kadi Group USA, Tyrell Uleri, believes more can be done to increase penetration of local fashion designs in the country.
Fashion is an expression of life creativity, right? It's an expression of art, and so people like to not only wear fashion, but when they get into their home, express their fashionability in the chair that they sit in the curtain that's in their bathroom, so on and so forth. So we are, when you look into international markets, someone like Ralph Lauren, he has paint, he has clothing, he has across the gamut of fashion. Why can't we as Africans do that?
For Corporate Affairs Director at Chartered Business Services, patronage of fashion products in corporate organizations should be harnessed.
We think that going forward, there's still much that can be done, because each time we endeavor to achieve greater heights and success each time and to improve on what we've done before. And so the need for corporate Ghana and the government and all stakeholders who seek to portray or sell out the African idea and the African talent, this is the right opportunity for them all to come together to see how much they can do to support or what they can contribute in advancing the cause of the African talent, African businesses.
And Ajoyewa Clothing.
Now, street hawking has become a regular feature, especially at traffic intersections and areas associated with high vehicular congestion. Though illegal, all manner of products and services are on offer to motorists and commuters as well as pedestrians. One group of people whose activities have attracted mixed public sentiments is windscreen cleaners. Nanaya Ojima tells a story of some youth who are making a living cleaning vehicle windscreens on the streets.
Within minutes of stoppage at the show of red lights, they negotiate or force their services on potential clients, execute the job and get paid or ignored by motorists. All they need to be in business is water in a bucket made from 4 gallons, a steel stick with a sponge over foam on one side and a wipe on the other. The steel stick is regularly dipped in the foamy water and run rhythmically back and forth across the surface of the windscreen, leaving it spotlessly clean. The rule you will never forget here is to save a cedi for washing powder to make foamy water for the next day's job. Various intersections like Onanga Junction, Abrepo Junction, and Amekum in Kumasi are the spots windscreen cleaners strategically position themselves.
I left
'I Kumasi for Accra when I was 10 years old. I couldn't find any job, so I became a guide to blind men who were beggars. I chanced upon this job at a filling station when the blind man I worked with decided to leave Accra for his hometown.
Filling station for
Kwadwo Poku is a 22-year-old father of one.
I
was the first to start the business here. All the others learned from me. They all traveled to Kumasi for greener pastures. Most of them came to tell me about their desire to learn the job, and I trained them. In a day, I make at least 20 cedis, and when the business is good, I make about 30 cedis. "18-year-old Kwame Yeboah is one of Kwadwo Poku's pioneer apprentices who settled on the job after realizing it is more lucrative than selling beverage. The beverage business is only lucrative in the raining season, so I do other jobs in the dry season. That is what I call hustling. Making between 20 and 30 cedis daily is very good."
20 Ghana, 30 Ghana, and amount.
Oh, I'm trying. Yeah, 30 Ghana. Hey.
Drivers are divided over the importance of the job Kwadwo and his colleagues do here on the streets.
Scratching your screen with the sand in the water they use in cleaning, and it's not even dirty, so I don't see why they should.
Nice when they do it, you can see that it's nice. It changes the car for you, so it's nice, but I don't think they should continue doing it.
Some of these young men are determined to leave the streets since it comes with a lot of risk. Others have suffered physical and verbal abuse from irritated motorists. But what stands between them and the exit is where the next meal will come from. From Kumasi for Joy Business, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Great reporting from Nanaya Ojima. Let's turn to our interview of the day. And some peasant farmers here in Accra are making the case for government to focus on irrigation-led farmers in the urban areas as part of the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative. These farmers are complaining that the rollout of the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative has not been to their overall benefit. Charles Aite spoke to some of them.
We peasant farmers, we are being marginalized. Yes.
Why is that?
Because if you need something, you struggle before you get it, or you shout before you get it. They will not give it to you as you yourself you want it, but you have to shout and make noise before it can be given to you.
So you feel that
And that's our interview of the day. Of course, that's it for Business Live as well. My name is Daryl Kwao. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching.